Hello and welcome back to Cody's Radio Workshop. On the bench today we've got infamous Robert's Rambler. There are a lot of these around and this one's come to me. Parts are not working, although they did say that they picked up a couple of stations on medium wave, but long wave they picked up nothing. So that's what I'm going to have a look at today. We'll start by removing the bottom, which is you put your finger in the hole. I'll wait for the comments down below, and pull and release. And on the inside there we've got the model and serial number, which is a Rambler, and it is 129143. The next thing to do is to take the radio out of the case. Now that's pretty straightforward. On the inside here there's a strap and a screw, and again on the opposite side the strap and the screw. You need to undo those screws. You don't have to withdraw them, but I always tend to. And the one on the other side should be just as simple. So there's both of the screws away from the straps. Turn the set over, move the handle all the way to the back, and then it either will press out really easily, or you'll have to use a suitable tool very carefully just on the very underneath of the dial face, just to press and release whatever body fluids and skin cells are holding the radio into the case. Still putting up a fight. Again, very carefully on this side, straight down. There we go. Spudgers, super useful. I mean, this one is several years old. I have had newer ones, but this is the oldest one that I've got, bought on Amazon for just a couple of pounds. It's only a piece of metal, but it's been absolutely invaluable. I will pop a link down in the description for the particular one that I bought. I mean, I've rewrapped it, I've rewrapped the handle on it just so it's comfortable, more comfortable for me to use. But yeah, I'll pop a link in the description for that. Disconnect the speakers, well, disconnect the single speaker. There's a red wire and a green wire, and they just pull off of the speaker terminals themselves. That already doesn't bode well, because it looks like we've got a piece of wiring insulation which has just dropped out of there, so maybe somebody has been in here before. So there is the case. It's still got the speaker inside. The casework does need some attention, but we'll pop back to that later. So yeah, we pop that on one side and we get the first look inside the radio. These are a particularly simple set. There are only just over a handful of electrolytic capacitors. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've also got the tropical fish capacitors and a polyvaricon for the tuning. Ferrite rod, long wave, medium wave, and right underneath there at the back is the switch bank. If I zoom you down, you can see the switches inside there. I'm going to change all of the electrolytic capacitors, but I'm going to start with these two here. These are towards the edge of the board, quite simple to get to anyway. They are, or they should be, 220 microfarads. But after such a long time since manufacture, these do tend to drift, and for best performance, probably best changed. But I am going to change them all. There's a 470, a 2.2, a 100, and a 10. Just there. So I'm using the soldering iron to heat up my solder on the reverse of the board for those capacitors that I've just spoken about, and the solder sucker, which is an engineer solder sucker. I think it is an S3-U2, available on Amazon and absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't have any affiliation to the brand. I just find this quite possibly the best suck for your buck. It's the best solder sucker I've used. So these are, or should be, I don't know if you can read on there, 220 microfarads at 10 volts. I'll pop those on one side and we will test them with a quick game of capacitor bingo a little later. I'm now just preparing the new capacitors. These are radial capacitors, and these ones are axial and these ones are radial. There's two different types. The axials are getting quite expensive to buy now, but the radials are a lot cheaper. To solder them up, now it would be prudent to test the radio by connecting up the external speaker and the current limited power supply to make sure that we haven't created any problems that weren't there before. And then to test.
We can have a lock-in. But yeah, we can have a lock.
Radio network safe? Oh. Mid morning.
Of landline, but it. We live in the desert.
There's RTE on long wave.
To hold a government
And
account who
Radio
are
4.
repeatedly claiming.
So it is working. Now we could need, really, well, we do need to do, just to check the alignment on there. Now just checking that we've got 9 volts, the set is powered up on the external power supply and the speaker's connected. The set is switched on, the volume's at minimum, so I'm just checking now on C19, which is capacitor 19, which is here, that we've got 9 volts across and we've got 8.995, so yeah, that's close enough for me. So medium wave across L1, 470 kilohertz. I'm now doing the alignment. Apologies to headphone wearers for the 1 kilohertz tone, but I've now injected a frequency across L1, which is here on the ferrite rod. That's 470 kilohertz, and I'm looking at the oscilloscope. I've got the signal generator on R13 and chassis. So I'm looking at the oscilloscope now to peak T2, T3 and T4 for maximum output and symmetry. I've got T2, I think is that one, let me just check on the schematic. That is T2, T3 and T4, so we need maximum output on the oscilloscope. Hopefully you can just about see the oscilloscope there, so as I say, we're going to adjust T2 first of all for maximum output. So if you watch on the scope trace, that should get a lot bigger and the tone should get louder. It's just started to come down, so that one's peaked there. And T3, just about there. And T4 can see on the... I'll just redo T4. So lower. So T2 again, just to recheck. T3. So for the next part we need the pointer on 200 meters and the signal generator to 1500 kilohertz. Just adjusting VC2 for maximum output, which is about there. And then we need the marker onto 526 and a 570 kilohertz tone, which is about there. And we need to adjust T1 and T2 for maximum output. So, T1, which is about there. Now switching over to long wave, we need the needle on the 200 meter mark, which is there, and the signal generator at 257, which is there. A little bit of volume, bang on. And then we need to adjust VC5, which is just behind here, for maximum output again. Which is there. Switching now the needle to 526 meters and a 160 kilohertz. And adjust L3 which is this little puppet here. Just move the ferret along, like so. And that's got it pretty quickly. You just seal that back down using the existing wax with the tip of a soldering iron, which is really quite handy. And that should be us done. So now just checking the work that we've done there on medium wave.
Yes, I met her then, and I guess...
I saw the whole situation. The matter is now resolved.
And on long wave.
You don't sound that impressed.
What? No, she's okay.
Only okay.
So yeah, that is that just about done. It needs the dial face cleaning back up, and the control knobs will need cleaning as well. The case will want the pinstriping redoing on the grill, and just a general tidy up, and that does look in desperate need of some oil. That looks pretty dry. So yeah, now it's just a tidy up. See what we can do. a pause in proceedings for a little light-hearted capacitor bingo. Right, this one should be 470 microfarads. $838. So that's double bubbled. So now it's back to the case. Just preparing now by adding some 2mm tape. This is what I use here for the pinstriping, and to be able to tidy the grill up. Just rolls of this really thin, well obviously it's 2mm tape from, I think I bought this from Amazon, about a £5 for 5 rolls, and 5 rolls goes a long way. Just looking at the ones that definitely need doing, such as this one. And then my weapon of choice for today's art lesson is Humbrol Black. Super fine brush. And just colour in the bits that have lost their paint. To be able to take off this tape that always seems to remain stuck to my fingers. It's much better than it was. Still not perfect, it's a way to go yet. Get some cleaning cloth and some magic juice, which is the Screwfix heavy duty degreaser, just onto a little cloth and just wipe along the inside edge. And you remember right at the beginning of the video I mentioned about the DNA that people have left on the radio over the years. Well, it needs to go. If you look at that now, Screwfix degreaser. It's just a heavy duty degreaser, but the stuff I buy it from is Screwfix, obviously, and it's very good for general cleaning on radios. I use a 50-50 mix, 50% degreaser, 50% water, and it really brings these things up a treat. And as you can see now, the dial face is pretty clean. The only remaining things are to clean the knobs and what I call the bar brights that go on the front and the back of the dial face. So to take off the knobs, they just pull off. Some of them can be quite tricky, like this one. So what you can do, if you can find it again, is grab your spudger, put it underneath, just give it a twist. That might give you enough room to just pull that off. And then we chuck these into the knob wash. There you can see the knob wash. It's an ultrasonic bath. But these, where are we? These are the knobs, and they're pretty manky. Here's the other one. If it'll focus. There we go. You see they're pretty manky. So take the lid off the knob wash, drop them into the solution, which again is Screwfix heavy duty degreaser. Turn the time on for about 4 minutes. Does help if you plug it in. There we go, there's the ultrasonic now cleaning those knobs in the knob wash. You can hear the knob wash there working away in the background. Only got a couple of minutes, so I've got a couple of minutes spare, and we'll clean the bar brights as well. Clear off the bench and wait for the knob wash to finish. A bit of rag on the bench now. and the knobs have come out of the knob wash, and you can get to see me polishing a knob. And if you look at those now, nice and clean and tidy. They were only in there for, what was it, 4 minutes, and they've come up just lovely. So now it's time to put those back on. There we go, that's those on. These didn't look too bad, that's why I didn't take those off. But while I've got a soggy wet rag, you can just give the tops of them a wipe with the degreaser, leave it for a moment or two, and then polish it off. So the bar brights can go back on. So that gives you an idea now how good that looks. Making sure that the stretcher bars go inside the grooves. Make sure we haven't got anything in there that's trapped. Reattach the speaker wires. And then get the radio back into the case, like so. And all that is left to do is to do the final power test.
Or rather than compelling them to do things, it means that people...
Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with...
Main thing as well, especially with the salads and...
That's pretty good. So there we go, Robert's Rambler start to finish. Didn't take very long at all. If you've liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you've subscribed already, thank you very much, and if you haven't, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I will catch you in the next one. Happy New Year.